Hello everyone, welcome back to a very special episode of Vintage Cars Ireland. Today I'll be showing you this very beautiful Lotus Elise R and giving you my first impressions in it. The interior is complemented with the beautiful bucket style seats and race spec steering wheel, but more on that later. Getting in and out of the car can be a little bit tricky, but once you get driving, you really have no intention of getting back out again. Now, in my opinion, the styling of the car is absolutely beautiful, with the addition of these carbon fibre side air vents give it such an aggressive look. The previous owner also added these team dynamic wheels, giving the car just give it a little bit more of a racetrack look. It looks really cool. I also absolutely love the rear styling of the car, also with that kind of ducktail rear end. Something else that really caught my attention and I thought was really cool, but you'd actually have to go looking for it under the car. If you can look further there a little bit, you can see that there's trays going all along the car. These are aluminium trays for aerodynamics. Before I head off my first drive in this, I just want to show you the engine, which is supplied from the Toyota Celica. This engine produces 189 brake horsepower. Not staggering figures, but I can't wait for you to hear it because it just sounds so good. You'll hear that in just a few moments. Of course, the ethos of Lotus was not to make huge amounts of power, but to actually save weight. So even though your family saloon might have more power on paper, this Lotus can go 0 to 60 in just a staggering 4.9 seconds. A truly astonishing figure for a car with a naturally aspirated engine, and I'm going to talk a little bit about more how Lotus actually achieved this in just a few moments. Now, just heading out, straight away I can feel how incredible the steering is going to feel, along with the notchy gear changes. Because the engine didn't produce huge amounts of power, Lotus needed the car to be extremely light, and they achieved this by using aluminium and plastic bodywork instead of heavy metal parts. They went to extreme lengths to achieve lightness, such as using aerospace epoxy adhesive to glue the chassis together, which of course is lighter than welding. Focus on lightness rather than chasing power, you get one of the greatest driving cars ever produced. This is my first time ever driving an Elise, and no other car I've ever been in comes close to how fun this is. Something that I thought was kind of funny is, stamped in the exhaust reads, "only suitable for track use." It's actually really not that bad. I thought it'd be louder, but you actually get more noise from the engine, which is of course seated directly behind you. Now, this car isn't actually owned by me, so I'm being rather careful and respectful of it here today. Another thing about this car is the wheels have also been fitted with slick tyres. These can be a little bit unpredictable when they're not up to temperature. Of course, these are the types of roads that you want to be on when you're driving a Lotus. It is built for smooth surfaces and quick corners. Now, what I'm comparing this from cars that I've personally owned is an Opel Astra, which was of course 240 brake horsepower, which on paper is more power. It's an additional 50 brake horsepower compared to this car, but it doesn't even scratch the surface of this car. really comes down to the brilliance of this car and the phenomenal engineering behind it. Of course, you do have to sacrifice a fair bit of comfort and luxuries, but it's a sacrifice you'd be more than willing to make. You feel properly connected to the road in this car. Of course, with the absence of power steering, you feel every single bump and vibration. As I promised earlier, I'm going to show you what the interior is like, and I'm going to pull over in here. The seats are extremely firm. It's not too nice in your back if you are going on a bumpy road. Not too bad at the same time, it's very livable. Of course, we do have a lovely OMB steering wheel, and again, we don't have too many luxuries in here, just your typical heater matrix and radio, which is actually an extra. I do love the suede on the dash and the metal footrest on here, it's so cool. Took me a few seconds to also find the handle, as it's quite integrated into the door. You'll see why getting in and out of this car is also a little bit challenging at times, with the thickness and height of the sill. There's no carpet at all in here, just your floor directly under the mats, and you are seated only centimetres above the road, but again, it gives you possibly the closest feeling you can get to a go-kart. So I'm going to head off again one more time before my day sadly comes to an end here. I'm also going to take this chance to say a huge thank you to the owner for letting me film this fabulous piece of engineering. He's only recently bought it, and before him, the previous owner actually owned it for about 9 years, I believe. I think he said that. The car is in impeccable condition inside and out, and it really is a credit to both of them. I have learned a lot about this car here today, and one of the standout facts to me was how the chassis is glued together. This to me showed the level of determination and innovation Lotus were willing to go to make a truly great and iconic sports car. You can look at one of these cars on Instagram, on TikTok, wherever, but nothing comes close to seeing one of these in person and actually just sitting in and driving it. It is so good. It's a little bit crazy to think that this car nearly even didn't get produced, and we came so close to missing out on one of the best and most iconic sports cars. This nearly happened because Lotus was actually going bankrupt at the time, but thankfully they got bailed out. The engine that Lotus actually used was the Rover K-Series engine originally. However, they then switched to the Toyota engine like in this car to meet emission standards, better reliability, and to sell it globally. I knew to expect a lot when I came out here today to film this car, but my expectations were surpassed immensely, and I'm so happy and so thrilled that I actually got to carry out this experience. It is a bit of a shame that we can't always film cars like this, but it does make it that much more special when we do. I really hope that you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and thank you so much for watching, and see you next week.